actually hilarious.
Danny, you're a kidnapper.
Or your granddaughter.
Or your granddaughter.
Without your own mother! Without your grandmother!
You're a kidnapper.
You a Jay's sister? Hey, turn this way for a second.
You kidnapped over 20 women. Come talk to the aunties. Get out here. Where are you going? Going for your shift?
You know what you did.
You know you stole women. You know. You know what you did was wrong. You know that by stealing women, you're a kidnapper. Colonizer. You colonizer,
We'd be doing
kidnapper.
better if you gave us answers. That's all we want.
All we want to know is where the women are. All you gotta do is tell us where the women are. That's it. Kidnapper.
If a person does any of these things, I immediately know they're a loser and that I need to stay away from them. Talking down on my success because you wish you had it. You don't have to be mad and compare yourself to me. You can just go after the life that you want. They value the relationships they have with people that don't treat them right over people that actually have their best interest at heart. I just feel like now your priorities are messed up and I don't need to be around somebody who clearly doesn't understand what's valuable and what's not. Not liking anything or calling everything embarrassing is literally your entire personality. Like, that's annoying. Literally, people who always try to start something when there are other people around, but when they're by themselves, they're quiet. You literally only know how to try to talk to me or treat me crazy when you have your crew with you. It's extremely obvious that you're a coward. Trying to get certain people to like you or pay attention to you by putting somebody else down. Because you already have a desperate need to be liked, but then on top of that, you have a desperate need to be liked by the wrong people.
You know, this bad stuff happens, and for 33 hours, I was praying that if this had to happen here, that it wouldn't be one of us, that somebody drove from another state, somebody came from another country. Sadly, that prayer was not answered the way I had hoped for. Just because I thought it would make it easier on us if we could just say, hey, we don't do that here. And indeed, Utah is a special place. We lead the nation in charitable giving. We lead the nation in service every year. But it did happen here.
There's one tourist left in Nepal, and this is how it's going for him.
One day.
Bollocks. Fucking hell. That was a gunshot that just went off. That's another gunshot.
I'm already on the edge of my seat watching what is happening in Nepal right now, just to see a random tourist pop up running for his life along with the locals. He literally went there for a once-in-a-lifetime trip to Nepal to visit the people, eat the cuisine. It's there on the day the revolution breaks out. And sure, he could have left, but he's like, hey, I'm already here. So he then decides to stick around for the revolution. The fact that he's the only foreigner at all that you see in any of this, even the local news media outlets have taken notice of this guy. Even before that, the people of Nepal have been amazing because whenever he's not running for his life in the middle of this revolution, getting to sit down and talk to locals and drink local beer and eat local cuisine and make the videos he was going to Nepal to make. This poor guy does have a YouTube channel, so I'm going to tag it so so you can follow along in this guy's once-in-a-lifetime vacation that has turned into witnessing a full-blown revolution.
There are very specific things that the people around me do to immediately let me know they lack critical thinking skills, and that I need to keep our conversation surface level to protect my own peace. When a person is literally unable to tell the difference between what is their opinion and what is a fact, anything that goes against their opinion just isn't valid. You feel way too comfortable accepting things at face value and you have no desire to ask questions. For whatever reason, you struggle to understand how your everyday thought patterns are influenced by your own biases and life experience. A person has very poor problem solving skills. For some reason, they can't see cause and effect. You try to equate stereotypes and generalization with common sense. Either your beliefs contradict themselves or you willingly support people that go against your own interests. Before you reach the stage when you realize that just because a family member says something that doesn't mean it's true, that doesn't mean your critical thinking skills are bad, it just means they're limited.
Christianity makes sense. A virgin had God's baby, who then grew up to be murdered by the Romans, so you and I could be forgiven for Eve eating that apple she got from the talking snake. 3 days later, Jesus rose from the dead to tell everyone he was coming back someday to fight the devil. Then he flew up to his mansion in heaven where he sits in judgment of the gays. How can you not believe that?
سلوم شو جاي تعمل هنا واقفة على البحر؟
بستنى الصول الصمودي يجوا طولوا.
تستني أسطول الصمود طولوا؟ من وين بده يجي أسطول الصمود؟
بدهم يجوا سفينة.
سفينة من وين؟ من هنا من البحر؟ طب هم رح يوصلوا ولا مش رح يوصلوا؟
لا رح يوصلوا.
طب لو وصلوا شو بدك منهم؟
بدي منهم شوكولاتات وحاجات وألعاب.
بدك شوكولاتات وحاجات وألعاب؟ طب شو رأيك تحكي لهم هنا رسالة انت شو بدك وشو حابة؟ يلا هنا احكي لعمو.
Welcome dear friends of Freedom Flotilla. Thank you for your courage and love. أتمنى أن تصلوا جميعا وبسلام.
هذه هي رسالتك لأسطول الصمود؟ هذه هي رسالة سلمى لأسطول الصمود. أما بالنسبة لرسالتي أنا ولرسالة كل غزاوي من هنا من غزة، نحن قاعدين عم نستنى فيكم لحتى توصلوا. احنا عارفين انه مهمة وصولكم رح تكون كثير صعبة، ولكن احنا بنتمنى انكم توصلوا، واللي بتعملوه مش اشي قليل ومش اشي هين. فمحاولة انكم تحولوا الكلام اللي احنا بنسمعه في العالم من برا لأفعال هنا في غزة، هذا لحاله بكفي. احنا في غزة عم نستناكم وكثير مبسوطين انه في ناس عم تعمل اشياء عن جد لحتى توقف معنا في ظل الظلام والوقت الصعب اللي احنا عم بنمر فيه. فلهيك شكرا لأسطول الصمود، نحن هنا في غزة عم نستناكم وان شاء الله توصلوا.
Me being Ukrainian, a lot of people have asked me like how I feel about this. And while I have to say that I'm extremely heartbroken by this, what happened to Irina is awful and despicable. As a Ukrainian, I have to tell you guys, this is not good. The martyrification of Irina is not good. Y'all really need to understand that martyrification does not happen in a healthy society. This kind of thing is absolutely not normal. This is what a government does when they have absolutely lost control. Ask me how I know. It's not a good sign. I grew up with literal child war hero martyrification. We had to like read books about that on our summer break because our country was very much in turmoil while I was growing up. And still is. Ukraine has always been under attack from something or someone. We've never known a moment of peace, and we've never known a day without the martyrification of somebody. So that is not a good sign. In a healthy society, we would have long ago been able to acknowledge it's not appropriate for the government to do this instead of like practical, accessible, and legitimate solutions. This is what a government does when it's in turmoil, when there's not enough like money, when they don't actually want there to be law and order, when they're not actually interested in that, or when they're like incapable of achieving it with the means that is available, or if they're choosing not to achieve it with the means that are available to them, the shortcut that they're going to take is martyrification. And unfortunately, in America, martyrification usually serves like a double purpose. It honestly doesn't work as well in other countries as it does in America, and that's because these martyrs are used as a racial divide also. Because the truth is, this isn't about a white person being killed by a black person. Even though it took some of y'all about 0.5 seconds to put the hoods back on and start talking about how this is a racially motivated crime, the statistics and facts bear out the fact that this is a gender-based hate crime. Honestly, if this was like a really big problem, then you'd probably see a headline about it every 5 days or so. Oh wait. We do see a headline about every 5 days or so. Let's see what it is. I horribly misspoke. Actually, a lot worse than I thought. Femicide is so prevalent in the US that 70% of all cases of femicide occurred in the US. On a global scale, this is a pretty staggering statistic. We rank 34th for intentional female homicides at a rate of 2.6 killings per 100,000 women. In the US, almost 3 women are unalived by an intimate partner every day. Every day, women in the US are predominantly unalived by men they know and largely by current or former intimate partners. 92% of victims were unalived by a man they knew. So by all means, this case is a pretty extreme outlier. To not let yourself be distracted by the fact that both white women and women of color are predominantly unalived by men they know. It is not an issue of white women being unalived by black men. It's an issue of a woman being unalived by men, being spun into a narrative where, oh, a black man killed a white woman. This is your government trying to radicalize you and put the blame for things that they're actively ignoring onto the back of marginalized people, as they've always done. And most importantly, I really hope that none of y'all are deluding yourselves into thinking that these guys, Andrew Tate and Elon Musk, would be doing a charrette of this if this wasn't a woman who was young, thin, blonde, white, extremely helpless in the situation, a refugee. Like, all of these things really play into it, and all of this is really gonna do wonders for like mobilizing the victims of the male loneliness epidemic, because they will basically feel like they missed out on their shot with her. But trust me that these perverts would not be that worked up over this if this was like an 87-year-old woman. They would not be plastering murals of her all over like these major cities. Like, they're really only doing this because they find her physically desirable, which makes this gross on a whole nother level. Definitely feels like something is being fetishized here, you know what I mean?
Charlie Kirk Shooter wanted to start this entire rebellion with an "ooh woo." That's right. No one was expecting it to be a MAGA Mormon who was behind this whole thing. Why do we know this? Because the governor of Utah and the director of the FBI just held an entire press conference to tell us straight-faced that not only have they arrested this 22-year-old MAGA Mormon, but they found the shell casings, and guess what? He wrote on them. What was written on these shell casings? We have 3 different phrases here. I'll number them for you to make it easier. But the fact that this poor governor was not told by anyone on his team how to correctly pronounce OWO, which is "oh woo," this isn't just a saying. There's a whole song about this, and it's a love song.
Right. Extra noses pants is on you. Ooh, you're so warm. Couldn't help but notice your bones from across the floor.
That's the only part of that song I can share with you because it's kind of an explicit love song. If that's not weird enough for you, let me break down what the "Oh Bella Ciao" is. Bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao. This is also a love song. Don't believe me? This is the next verse in that song. Oh partner, I want to go with you because I feel like I'll die here. Keep in mind, I am only stating the facts as I have found them, but we're not done yet because there's still one more phrase. If you read this, you are gay. laughing my ass off. If the level of shocking irony was not already at a level 10 with this whole thing before we even found out about this 22-year-old Mormon, what he allegedly wrote on these shell casings, there is currently a protest going on in California by neo-Nazis related to Charlie Kirk's shooting at that college, and guess what they are chanting? White men fight back. Not realizing that the person who is behind this shooting was one of their own.
Did you see that ICE in Chicago killed a man claiming he dragged an agent with his car, but new footage shows otherwise, and now the Mexican government is demanding an investigation?
Surveillance video shows ICE agents attempting to arrest a driver just before 9 this morning. That video shows the driver backing up like he's trying to get away. ICE says he tried to drive the car into the arrest team, hitting and dragging one officer, causing serious injuries. This video angle doesn't show that, but it's why ICE says the officer shot the driver.
The person who was killed was 38-year-old Silverio Gonzalez, a cook and a father originally from Michoacan, Mexico. And his death happened during ICE ramped-up surge in Chicago in what they're calling Operation Midway Blitz. What we do know is that the agent shot into the car as Mr. Gonzalez tried to back up, and then Mr. Gonzalez, probably from being shot, rammed his car into a trailer. But according to DHS's account, which we're starting to learn not to believe, they stopped Mr. Gonzalez because he had a history of driving recklessly, and said that Mr. Gonzalez tried to ram his car into the agents and dragged one, which we don't see at all in the video. And that's why the Mexican consulate has contacted the family, is helping with legal services, and are demanding an investigation into what actually happened. Other nations are starting to learn that they cannot rely on the US's account of what happened. Because like we have seen from the Trump administrations, officials will lie to make the ICE agents look like heroes and paint the migrants as the attackers. And after the Supreme Court ruled that ICE can racially profile people, it's seen things like these that makes you wonder how far they will continue to push their power against us.
Did you see the pivot from the Republicans after finding out that Charlie Kirk's killer is a white guy from a MAGA family with serious far-right brain rot? We now know that Charlie Kirk's killer is Tyler Robinson, a 22-year-old from Utah who's been shooting guns since he was very young, something his family has been trying to delete from Facebook. Now, the way the media is portraying the final discussion between Tyler and his family, and the fact that Tyler didn't like Charlie's viewpoints, like Tyler might have been the Democrat or the left-leaning out of the family, but that might not have been the case. According to Tyler's own grandmother, everyone in the house is Republican and that they don't know a single Democrat. And Tyler's dislike of Charlie wasn't because Charlie was a fascist. It might have been because Charlie wasn't fascist enough. This criticism of Kirk in the MAGA world can also be seen from people like Laura Loomer, who was very critical of Kirk being critical at all of Trump. And it seems like Tyler's critique of Kirk led him to what's called the Groyper movement. And this is where the brain rot comes in, so brace yourself. Groypers are supporters of Nick Fuentes, who believe Charlie Kirk wasn't fascist enough. And all those messages on the bullet casings that the news and police misreported as Antifa or pro-trans slogans, well, those were online memes. And what I found out that is so scary is that the act of mass shootings have become memeable situations in white supremacist circles. Something I never thought of. These white supremacists are memifying mass shootings, and they are trolling us with these events to cause confusion. That's why a lot of the times their messages have conflicting ideologies to confuse us. And of course, their fellow white supremacists are protecting them. That's why before Republicans knew who it was, they were asking for the death of Democrats. Others, like the governor of Utah, hoped this was an immigrant that they could blame it on, but it turned out to be, as he said, one of us. That's why when they found out it was one of them, a white supremacist, it went from kill Democrats to have love for Tyler, who was a confused little boy from a good MAGA family. Oh, but don't get it wrong. Just because they know who did it, it doesn't mean that they changed their rhetoric towards Democrats or people of color. Because now it isn't, we should go after Democrats because they went after Kirk, but Kirk would have wanted us to go after Democrats. White supremacists know what they're doing, but I need my fellow person of color to start seeing it. They will use one of us to go after all of us. But when it's them committing violence, they will do everything possible to protect their white racism and their way of life.